What are you looking for here?
Time. I need time to forgive myself. I need to escape. To forget what I did. I'm going. Are you staying or are you coming too?
No. This was the best month of my life. We're all prisoners of ourselves. And from that, there is no possible escape.
Happy heresies and welcome to the desert of the real. And indeed, you can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. We are all just prisoners here of our own device, or are we? That's from the very Gnostic theme movie, The Platform 2. And I think it hits it on the head. In the movie, this guilty protagonist goes into sort of this squid game Mad Max hellscape because she feels she needs to do penance for the horrible sin in her real life. But she realizes, no, it's not the hell outside of us that's going to redeem us. It's going in and redeeming our inner self, making those demons into angels, into aeons. But good Halloween film if you're interested. And yes, this Sunday we will have a special show dealing with Gnostic theme Halloween flicks. I will mention The Platform and some others. Hope to see you there. My name is Miguel Connor, and I am your Pompatus of Gnosis. And today, as always, we are very excited to have the mighty David Block to give us the second presentation from his latest trilogy. David, how are you doing?
It's great. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for having me. And hard work with this presentation. It's a quite long one. I hope we will get through. And it's the second part.
Wonderful. We'll get through it, and I'm sure it's good. And I know you put a lot of hard work, but you are affecting people in a positive way. And with us, too, we got the Moondog Vance. Vance, how are you doing?
I'm good. Waiting for this gnosis to descend upon us.
It shall indeed. All right, good to see everybody in the chat room. Looks like we got a really good crowd today. As always, please support this show any way you can. Subscribe, share, because we are definitely suppressed, which is not uncommon for people in the esoteric who have the dangerous ideas. And please support David. David now has a website, davidblock.org. It's on the show notes, so check it out. So, because again, like me, he's kind of gets hidden in a certain platform. So if you want to really find out what David is up to, go to davidblock.org and check him out. And support your alternative Gnostic creators out there. If you have any questions for David or complaints for Vance and I, or suggestions, costume suggestions for Halloween, please super chat them and we shall get to it. So I can't think of any other housekeeping. So shall we just get started, David? Shall we hit the ground running, as they say?
Absolutely. Let's.
All right, let me pull up the presentation, and here it is. And I believe you have control. You are the demiurge now, David. We are just the prisoners of your device.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you, Miguel. And yes, this is part 2 of a part 3 series. The first one was Atlantis, Ishtar, and humanity's fall. And of course, it's good to see them all. If you want to really get into it and understand it all. And for this presentation, it will be a lot of new information, a lot of details, and I will repeat myself a couple of times. I don't do it to to irritate you, but to hammer home certain points so you don't get lost in this presentation, because this will be a lot of information and a lot of details. Easy to miss. So I hope it will be a good presentation and that you like it.
Awesome. Thank you.
The New Testament for a New Human. I'm going to talk about Jesus and that character. But don't worry, this is not Christmas Jesus or flip-flop Jesus. This is the hardcore Jesus. This is the real thing. So don't shut down. This comes in many parts, and I continue on from the first part. So I start with part 14, and that's Jesus in Egypt. John the Baptist is 15, 16, Bowie and the Black Star, the Matrix Machine, Absu and the Underworld, Enki and Absu, Ishtar and Absu, the Gold Room, Anubis and Set, Anzu Bird, the Machine, Crucifixion, Dead Reckoning, Lucifer Unbound, and A Space Odyssey 2001. And I will decode A Space Odyssey 2001 in the last part of this series. And it is for a reason why I end this series with that movie. And you will start to get the idea already in this part. So let's start with part 14, Jesus in Egypt. Yeah, we have this gap in the New Testament where we don't know where Jesus went, doesn't say, and he was gone for many years. And in some apocrypha, he is in the Egypt, right? Apocrypha. And my take on this, because it seems we have many Jesus, many different characters, and my take on it is that when they created the New Testament, they combined different characters into one character they call Jesus. So they have taken this inspiration from different characters and put them together into one character. And over time, that character has become this flip-flop Jesus we see. But that's not the main character. We have to divide them and analyze them one by one. And you have this, Amon Hillman is talking about the drug Jesus.
Right.
Lena Einhorn is talking about a character called Ben Stada.
Mm-hmm.
And it is Ben Stada I will focus on here. But there are two more characters I think is the made up pieces of two more characters at least. Mm-hmm. And we have this shift in time, and I agree with Lena Einhorn and others here as well, that they have pushed back the timeline. My take is that this happened between like 40 and 100 after Christ. So they pushed back and shift timeline. And that's a very Saturnian thing to do, isn't it? Because Saturn is the god of time. So they have used Saturn, Ninurta, to shift time and to have the narrative taking place like year 0 to 33. I want to focus on the left-hand path teaching, and you can find it in the New Testament. It's there. You can read it behind the lines. And I'm a little bit disappointed that no one is talking about it, because they seem to be focused on different characters of Jesus, but no one is talking about the profound stuff, the real profound stuff, because it's there. You can't deny it. I think they have changed a lot of things in the Bible, the New Testament. Things have been misunderstood because of language problems. Things have been distorted, propaganda reasons. This is very hard to discern. But still, you can find very profound left-hand path teaching in there. So I will focus on the crucifixion. And I promise to come back to this character, Jesus, in the end of this presentation, but I have to take you on a journey. But you will understand what happened during the crucifixion if you go along with me. So please bear with me. I will start to talk about Jesus and I will end to talk about Jesus. To begin with, Christianity's first symbol was a fish and an anchor, not the cross.
Mhm.
And the fish and the anchor was, of course, in the ocean, and you had water. We have talked about water many times here on this show. Water is mem, the Hebrew letter mem, and the number is 40. And it's about memory, science, language, nations. That is very important. And you have Enki, who is Poseidon, Ptah, and Enki, of course. Enki, Poseidon, and Ptah. Therefore, there are a lot of symbology in the New Testament that points towards Enki. But Enki is not the same thing as Lucifer. And I will hammer home that point here today, because some attribute Enki to Lucifer. It is related. So you can say Enki is Luciferian, but Enki ain't Lucifer. If you unfold the cross, it becomes a cube. And the cube is a symbol of Saturn. What we want to do is unfold the cube to exit this matrix or to reach higher into the metaphysical realm, towards the fixed stars and beyond our solar system. That's the goal here, to overcome Saturn, who is a threshold towards deeper metaphysical spaces or dimensions. And it's important to hammer home that Jesus was in Egypt, because I claim that most of the teaching came from Egypt. And Jesus was there to study, and study left-hand path. And Ben Stava can be that character.
Right.
But remember that they have combined these characters, so things get distorted, mixed up, and so on. But I will point to the details that show you at that in that direction. So you have this fish and the anchor. You have the water and mem, and that is 40. And there are a couple of gods attributed to Sirius. Dagon is one of them, but also Enki. And Enki is also Poseidon and Ptah. Both Dagon and Enki fixed star is Sirius. On Sirius, we find the spirits called oneness. And the oneness come across as amphibious creatures. Some portray them as men with fish suits on. And another very important symbol for Christianity is the crown of thorns. And I will try to explain that symbol and what it means. And John the Baptist is a very important character in the New Testament, of course. And he is the one who baptized Jesus in water, in memory. There's a metaphysical preparation, and to take back the memory of you. Because when we are reborn, we forget past lives. It's like a boatman moment where we are blank. And we have done this boatman moment in a collective sense. Humanity have gone through those moments. But this is a personal boatman moment where our memory are wiped clean and we come back and we have to start all over again. The thing is that when you start to work in the metaphysical, you start to program the memory into your own being, like your blood and your DNA. Therefore, some of the metaphysical work can be reawakened again. And you can start to work and go forward again. So you have some advantage if you start to work and remember it and start to work on it again in next life. So therefore we have a progress to go forward. Otherwise our lifespan is quite short. So you have this mem, water, and 40. And that is really Anzu water or Astral water as well. To remember that you are a spirit having an experience through body is a huge step forward, because if you only think that you are this body, or that you wait for something to happen to save you, aliens or whatever, nothing will happen. They got you. Because the problem for us is that when we die and our lifespan is quite short, we start all over all the time. And if you have some people who want to rule over us, who have a esoteric method how to remember past reincarnation in order to continue their plan, then they will own us, because they will have power and we have none. So this is a symbol for as above, so below, and I will come back to that. Remember that we are talking about Anzu water, the underworld, and to go down into the underworld in order to have a connection with the metaphysical. And I will come back to that. And this John Baptist was decapitated. He lost his head. He was killed. And that's a huge artifact they have. They claim it's John the Baptist, but who knows, right? And it's not that important for me. Because this character, both Jesus and John the Baptist, show me something about method, how I can work, not how I can wait and worship, because that's not my thing as a left-hand path practitioner at all. In the first part, I talked about Zeus and his war with Kronos and Prometheus or Prometheus. But of course, Zeus have done much more than that, right? There's a lot of stories in the Greek mythology about this character, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And one of those mythologies is about Perseus. And Perseus was the son of Zeus. And Perseus defeats Medusa. And Medusa, the head is the head of the Algol. So Algol is a fixed star, and Medusa is in that fixed star. So if you decapitate Medusa, takes her head, you have also decapitated the fixed star Algol. Now what they're saying is that they took Algol down with them to matter and use that force against their own enemies, to turn the sword against your enemies. But this cut down of the fixed stars is also to take down forces from these fixed stars into matter, or to use the fixed stars to have an impact in matter, or to change something in matter, or enhance something in matter, enhance an effect in matter. Algol influences the planets Saturn and Jupiter in our solar system. And that's very interesting, because that's exactly Enlil's planets. Enlil's planet is Jupiter, because he have taken over Jupiter from Marduk, Zeus. And Saturn is his son's planet, Ninurta. So they have both these planets. And I think Enlil is really the power behind the throne, acting through Ninurta, his son, who have taken his place in the solar system. Therefore, we have come under Enlil rule, because they have taken over this very important planets, both Saturn and Jupiter. Zeus is under Enlil's influence because he ended up under Jupiter and Saturn. Zeus' planet was Jupiter in the beginning, Marduk, but Enlil took over that source, that energy. And Zeus Marduk ended up under Enlil, and under Enlil's influence. Meaning Marduk Zeus started to shift in mentality towards an Enlil Ninurta energy pattern, like manipulation. So this story about Medusa, Zeus, and Perseus is very important. And one thing to point out in this Greek mythology is that Medusa is completely innocent here.
Very true.
Yeah, but she's still the evil one, right? I cannot go into that story too much, but it was Enki who seduced her to have a child with her, and some goddess became jealous of Medusa, and they wanted to slay Medusa. But she's still the evil one, remember? Right. Medusa is the evil one. And of course, Medusa is about poison and remedy. She has snakes in her hair. So if you have taken down her fixed star and use it against your enemy and enhance the effect, you can also use alcohol as heighten up potency in poison and remedies, like an alchemy. You focus on the alcohol, trace alcohol, and draw down that energy in the poison you want to give other people, or the remedy, hopefully. But it's the intent of the people who use alcohol who are really the villain, right? And the Enlil and Ninurta is not the best gods around. Let's say like that. So we have matter and metaphysical, and the metaphysical, because remember, the metaphysical is the one. The metaphysical is what is what program matter, right? Our matter comes from the metaphysical and becomes dense matter. And you can see this in the Tree of Life, for example, where matter is Asaya Malkuth.
Right.
So if you want to make change in matter, you go up to the metaphysical and draw it down and have some profound change in matter through method and ritual. And this has also to do with chakra and method. Chakra is a very powerful method. Very few work with it. But through the chakra, if you ignite the chakra system, you have an easier access to the metaphysical. You have a connection. Your body, your temples start to vibrate in a different frequency, and you are more in tune, become more in tune to the metaphysical. You can start to communicate with spirits and so on. You hear them. And of course, this is what as above, so below means, and as within, so without. That you have to go within, transform your temple, your body, and you will have a shift as outside of you, and you can go up and draw down change in matter from the metaphysical. Goes together. You have access to the metaphysical when you go within, as within. So there is a connection with the fixed star Algol in this instance. When we talk about Medusa, the head of Medusa, what they are talking about is the fixed star Algol. They have cut the head off of Medusa, bringing down the fixed star Algol's, the effect of Algol down into matter. and they use it against their enemies. Baneful magic, as we call it. Now, a good rule of thumb is don't lose your head. That's very important, especially when you work with the chakra, right? Because you want to turn them all on, not only to the heart chakra, but even further up to the crown chakra, all the way. The serpent snake should be turned on all the way from bottom and up. So if you lose your head, you have lost many chakras, and you are really stuck in the lower chakras. And the 3 lower chakra, to be specific, where the last chakra is the sun chakra, or the yellow chakra. Solar plexus. So here you have Perseus holding up Medusa's head, and that's called the oblongata, or medulla. The oblongata is a stem-like structure, and it contains the cardiac, heart rate, breathing, lungs, blood pressure, anger and aggression, and if you lose it, you will lose control over the blood pressure, and you will act out with anger, and you can be stuck in that lower part of the chakra energy center, and the energy cannot spread up all the way to the crown, or go up all the way to the crown. If you want to take the Kundalini chakra up, down, up, because you can take it from up and down as well. Depends on what you choose to. But here it's very important to point out that we're talking about the oblongata, stem-like structure, contains the cardiac, heart rate, breathing, lungs, blood pressure, and blood is very important, right? And anger and aggression. And if you fail, you can end up in Hades or in Anzu, especially if you work in the esoteric with esoteric method. It's very important that all of this is turned on and that you can use it when you go on these metaphysical journeys. So don't lose your head, because you will need the last 4 chakra turned on as well on your journey to Hades or Anzu. And you have a lot of gods stuck. Even the gods are stuck there, right? So it's not only humans who fail here. So that's maybe a sign that you should take it serious. So you have the 3 lower chakras, beginning with Muladhara, that's the root chakra. And this chakras is a lot about sexuality and to be based in matter or be stuck in matter, sexual energy, to transform it and work with it. Sexual magic, turn them on and use that to your advantage, because your body fluids is an asset if you can harness it, if you can work with it, if you don't become a prey by it or become a slave under it. Sexuality is the most important for the human race, except food and those basic stuff, because we have to reproduce. But if you are stuck with the idea that reproduction is the only way you can use sex, you have missed the point here. You should work with it, transform it, and push that energy up. So if you're stuck in the 3 lower chakras, that means that the solar plexus, the sun chakra, is the last one where you are stuck at. You have lost your head. Remember the medulla. So you're stuck in the gold room and the Shining. You have this hotel, I've decoded before, right? Here you have the elite. An elite kind of a restaurant or ballroom where the elite are stuck at, because they haven't transformed those traits in themselves, like sexual appetite, misguided sexuality, food, money, power, lower things into matter. They want to rule in matter, and they've become sexual predators and misuse all of those that energy. They are completely wrong people to do this journey, but they have tried. So Jack, for example, the main villain in the movie, and Jack has lost his head.
Yeah.
And he's an angry man. And one of the most famous lines here is Johnny, of course.
Right,
he stick out his head through the door and look like a maniac. And he has lost his morals, right? That's a sign of a man who have lost his head because of anger. And many would argue sexual appetite as well.
Yes.
Yes, Jack has lost his head and has ended up in the gold room. And we know that he has been there for a very, very long time because of his confrontation with a specific man, right? He has always been the caretaker. It's not a good sign in this particular instance in the Hotel of the Shining, let's say it like that. But we have a very interesting musician as well, David Bowie. And he made a very interesting music video, The Black Star. We start with part 16 now. So The Black Star is a very famous music video by now, a very good one, very esoteric music video, and many try to decode it as always. I will try to make sense of it here today. And if you follow me through all the way, you will get it. It's not like it is not impossible to decode it. It is just, it takes some time. So in the music video, you have a lady with a tail, open up an astronaut's helmet, and you see a skull there, the head of John the Baptist. John the Baptist had lost his head. He had been decapitated. He's stuck. And he's an astronaut. Therefore, there's a technology component to this as well. Some people want to use technology to transcend or go towards the metaphysical and into other dimensions. And you see in the music video the black sun, right? In the music video, you have the black sun. And this is about the Anzu and the astral water. Because now we're talking about traveling to the metaphysical. That is astral water. And that's is about the underworld and the ups. Now we'll come back to that. And you have this theme, as above, so below. And you have to work it through, otherwise you will be stuck in the gold room. When you start this journey, make sure you go all the way and work your way through it, so you don't get stuck in the Qliphothic tree or somewhere in Universe B. It's the same thing, right? But you have to work with it. It's not for all. And we can clearly see that John the Baptist seems to have going lost this method of his. And there is a technology component to this as well. And he tried to tell you many things at the same time here. I will go through that later on again. You also have 3 crucified scarecrows with straws they're stuffed, stuck. And I go straight away to the farmer gods. My mind wandered to the farmer gods and to Enlil, because Enlil is the farmer gods. And if the Christians get it their way, then Jesus is the son of Enlil or Ninurta, right? Probably son of Enlil. And that's the reason why you should wait for him, because he will never come. Then you are stuck in magic. Very easy trick. Not hard. Then Ninurta has you. So if they can fool you that Jesus is Enlil's son and that you should wait for him, then his son has you under his rule. Saturn rule. So you have this crucifixion scene, and of course Jesus was crucified in the middle of two thieves or robbers. And he was in the middle of them. This is about the chakra and the black star. And the black star is the highest chakra. To reach to the black star, you have to turn on all the chakra system, all the way up. From Muladhara, the root chakra, all the way to the crown and beyond. Because there is a chakra above the crown chakra called Sunyata as well. And from Sunyata, you can fall down into the cliff 43 or the universe B. And now you become a black star. Can become a black star. But this poor people, this straw scarecrows, they are stuck in matter. They are crucified in matter. And if you unfold the cross, it becomes a cube. They are under Enlil rule, Ninurta, a farmer god. They are scarecrow, strawmans, crucified in matter. So part 17, the matrix machine. I have to take a little detour here. I will come back to all of that. I promise that you will understand more of both David Bowie, The Shining, and Jesus. As I said in part 1, this asteroid belt came about, came from Tiamat or Krypton. And it was Marduk who destroyed that planet. The asteroid belts formed out of the planets, the parts of the planet that exploded. It became a crown. Lucifer's crown, or the crown of thorns, is this asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars. But when they exploded this planet, when they destroyed it, Marduk, and remember Marduk was Enki's son, they also destroyed a Stargate, a natural Stargate that pointed toward Sirius. The natural Stargate toward Sirius, this was a very long time, was made up of from the moon, Saturn, and Tiamat. And they aimed it at the sun. Therefore, you can open up a hole into the sun, and it starts out like a black hole in the center of the sun that grows until it has swallowed the sun. And then you can go through it from universe A to universe B. There are other ways to go over to universe B than through the black sun. But now we're talking about Sirius specifically. We want to go towards Sirius through the black sun, or our sun, that turn into the black sun through method. So you have the old Stargate system, Tiamat, Krypton, Saturn, the moon as well. Sorry, not the moon here. I was wrong. Sorry. I take that back, because the old Stargate system was made up of Tiamat, Saturn's moon, Iaptus, and the sun. But when the Stargate was destroyed, they had to reconnect it. They took a stone from the asteroid belt and created the moon out of that stone and put some tech on it. I think they wanted to have the same energy fingerprint as Tiamat had. Now the moon became, instead of Tiamat and Krypton, part of the new Stargate system, who were made up with Saturn's moon, probably Iaptus, the moon, and then aimed at the sun. I hope you got me. Get me.
We got it.
Great. So what is Absu and Underworld? And this is a complicated thing. I will try to explain it. For some people, the Absu is only the underworld where the ghosts and demons and gods and men are at. But that's not all. That is just a small part of the story. The underworld is much more than that. So the underworld in Sumeria, Babylon, called Absu. In Greek mythology, called Hades. And Absu is made up of two words, Ab and Su. And Ab means water, and Su means deep water. And it's the primordial water below the void space of the underworld, Kur, and the earth, Ma, above. So the underworld, Kur, and the earth, Ma, above. It is fresh water from the underground. Absu temple, and astral water are connected. The Absu temple can be a pyramid, for example, a ziggurat in Mesopotamia or in Sumeria, Babylon. So the temples, the pyramids, the ziggurats, the Maya temple is connected to Absu, or astral water, or water from the underworld. The underworld is also a word for the metaphysical. So when you cross over from universe A to universe B, you travel from astral water, or Absu water, underworld water. So when you go down, you also can go into the metaphysical. So if you have the idea that it's only tunnels, physical tunnels down there, and water you can take a bath in, you got the wrong idea. It is a metaphysical device we are talking about. A metaphysical device that you can become stuck in if you don't know what you're doing, or if you have the wrong attitude, or if you have lost the chakras, if you have lost the head. And it's about to cross over to the metaphysical. That's the main theme here. And if you go to an ocean or a lake, you can see yourself in that lake as a mirror. Now we have become a magical mirror, because you can go through universe A to universe B. To cross over to the other side, you have become a mirror to the metaphysical, and you can take that metaphysical through method and take it back to universe A and again, and mirror it back and have a change in matter through a method, through becoming a magical mirror. The reflection in water mirrors you, because this is about you. Remember, when you travel to the metaphysical universe B, you travel inside of yourself. There is nothing outside of you. Even when you soul travel, you travel inside of yourself. You go within. You are the universe. You are the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And this mirror is, of course, when you mirror yourself in the waters, it becomes upside down and you become the hanged man. Bringing change, the word made flesh, is what we're talking about. If you really want to change anything in the material plane, you have to become a travel. You have to become a mirror. You have to become a boatman. You need connection to the metaphysical to bring in the change you want. From this playing field, the material playing field, you are very limited as a human. You still can do wonderful things, and people have. Like you are talking about Elvis. That's a wonderful thing to be able to mesmerize so many people. But we still need to go over to the metaphysical if we want to have a profound change in humanity.
Right.
And that is what we want. Doesn't mean that we should discard what we can do in matter. All music, all of that is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
If we really want evolution, then evolution is on the other side for you to take in. And you can soul and astral travel. And you can transform your body fluids, your temple. Because your temple is the flesh, your body. You still have your soul. You still have the opportunity to turn on your chakra system. You still have the opportunity to become a boatman, an astral traveler, on astral water. And the body fluids is an important part of that. Blood, for example, all of it. Doesn't mean that you need to have some great group sex, right? You can do other methods to turn on your temple.
Of course.
This is energies. This is a powerful tool of yours. It is because we misuse it. That's the reason why we are stuck. It is good to have children, but we have to educate them to also use sex for the metaphysical purpose as well.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean debauchery or group sex, but respect the power, respect the force of it. The body is your temple. Transform it from lead into gold. Change frequency through the work of the body fluids. Become a magical mirror. And one of those methods is chakra and kundalini, because that change the vibration in your body, frequencies. And you come in tune much more with the metaphysical. You will sense it. So, let me make it clear. Anzu is the primordial fresh water. Universe B, underworld, and Sitra Ara is the same thing, right? It's the other side. Doesn't mean that the tunnels, the water doesn't exist as a physical manifestation, and that's also important. But there is another metaphysical, esoteric method they are talking about at the same time here. So you have this astral water, and this astral water you can have access to the astral water if you become a magical mirror. A boatman or a cosmic sailor, I call that the boatman archetype. Now let's go back to the ancient one. The Anzu, the ancient one under Tiamat and the great old ones give birth to Anzu, the Anzu bird. What does that mean? I will come back to that. The Anzu bird comes from Tiamat line, Absu, the ancient ones. What does that mean for us? The connection to the ancient ones through water. You see, Absu was defeated, but Enki took Absu down into matter and put it underneath his ziggurat temple. Right? And that's a machine. In the first part, I talked about Ishtar and the Apsu, or the underworld. Let's go back to that in part 18, and let me make a couple of things clear here. Enki is very connected to Absu. More names of Enki. I will come back to Ishtar very soon. I have to take you on a journey here. More names on Enki is Enki, Eo, Ptah, Poseidon, Neptune. And Sirius is the star. I say Dagon. Sirius is Dagon's star. Sorry. Was the AI. Eridu is Enki's city. And Eridu was known as Absu. And Enki was the god of science and magic. He was the god of art. God of fresh water, water of life. Euphrates and Tigris came about from Enki's semen. And here you have close connection to water, magic, science, art. Absu is a very important figure connected to Enki. I mentioned it. No, sorry, Anzu. Absu is connected to Enki because he took down Absu and placed it underneath his ziggurat temple. That is about water, memory, science, language, scientific language, or a metaphysical language. And Enki is attributed with the animals fish and goat. Now I'll come back to fish, as in Christianity, and the goat. A little bit more strange is his attribute to a bird, an eagle. Now I will try to explain what that means later on. Because the bird and the fish is two completely different animals, right? One is flying in the air and one is swimming in the water. And his sign is the Capricorn, of course. Enki's star sign is Capricorn. Here can you see a depiction of Enki. And you can see the fishes, and that's a given. But then you see a bird. Who is that bird? Some people would say an eagle, but that is a little bit strange if it is an eagle. Maybe it is, but I would say it's the Anzu bird. And the Anzu bird comes from the Absu water that Enki had taken down under his ziggurat temple when they defeated the ancient ones, the great old ones. So they were at war with the ancient ones, the great old ones, Tiamat, for example, Kingu, and another name for Kingu is Belial, and Absu. And Dagon was one of the great old ones. And Dagon's star was Sirius from the beginning. Now Enki puts Absu to sleep, places him in the Kur under his temple, ziggurat. That is to say, primeval sea below the void space of the underworld Kur under the earth Ma above. Anzu is a monster. He was conceived from the waters of Absu, the Anzu bird. Therefore, Anzu comes from the ancient ones and the ancient Stargate system with water is birthed forth from water. Come from the old Stargate system where Dagon was the chief of a Sirius, and when Tiamat still existed as a planet. Now he's trapped under Enki's cigarette. Don't worry if it doesn't make any sense yet. I will explain it all for you. Just be patient. Tiamat is defeated by Marduk. The planet explodes and creates the asteroid belt. Lucifer's crown, a crown of thorn, as I explained before. And this is the ancient ones, right? And Anzu comes from that line of gods, prisoned by Enki for the moment. A new Stargate system has to be put in place. Enki is the architect. Technology is used. And this is the Stargate I explained before. Moons of Saturn, Iaptus, Mimas, or probably Iaptus, is one component in the Stargate system. And Azazel have stated that he is trapped in Mimas. And Azazel can be viewed as another mask of Lucifer. Therefore, you can say that Lucifer is bound or chained, as in the Greek mythology. Bound into the new Stargate system, because they have to hold him back, to keep him out. Eridu was known as E Absu, the house of the Absu. And now we know that Absu was the primordial water and the god under Tiamat, and he trapped that god under his cigarette temple. E Absu temple is also cosmic water. Ea, as his name, Ea, Enki, means the house of water. And that is a cigarette, Ekur and Mem, meaning water under the pyramid. And it is a technology attributed to it. And he has trapped Absu. And from Absu comes the Anzu bird. Birthed. The Anzu bird is birthed from the Absu under Enki's pyramid. So Ekur can mean pyramid. It is the Tower of Babylon. And the Tower of Babylon was destroyed. And it was destroyed from Enlil line and from Ninurta, who worked on behest of Enlil. And the Watchers stated that the dragon lines, the ley lines, was destroyed during that period, that event as well. There was a destruction of the grids of this planet. It was a huge thing, the Tower of Babylon incident. But it's very important to point out that Ekur can mean cigarette, pyramid, and the Tower of Babylon was, of course, a cigarette from Babylon. And I've talked about this many times before, this Etemen Anki, temple of heaven and earth, to connect earth to heaven. Kading Raki, Babylon, is the Babylon's tower. Cigarette of Babylon. and it was destroyed by Ninurta. But the name Nimrod comes about. And I think Nimrod is a name of an elite esoteric priest class under Ninurta. One who works for Ninurta. Because when you are an elite esoteric priest class during this time, you're supposed to mimic or take on the god's attribute and play it out on earth. You do the god's bidding here in matter. So the conclusion is, Enki is the god of science, magic, and art. Eridu, Absu, Kur Sigurd is pointing towards the Enki Sigurd in Eridu, and it is water under it, and it is a captured god called Absu, who later on gave birth to the bird Anzu, to the Anzu bird. Absu is a mem, and water memory. And mem is water and memory. So it is a mem device. Enki defeats the great old ones, and Marduk does the most damage. Traps Absu under the Kur Sigurd. Destroys Tiamat, Marduk his son does. Therefore they destroy the natural Stargate, Tiamat, and creates his own Absu. Capturing Absu and creates his own Stargate system with technology that is bound to his Sigurd, or his Sigurd is part of that technology. And that is nature under control of technology. Sirius is his star under technology. The matrix machine. Back to Ishtar now. And Ishtar and Absu, because Ishtar, a lot of what Ishtar is about this underworld traveling. And we have talked about the descent of the goddess Ishtar into the lower world. Ishtar takes off 7 pieces of jewelry from the crown to the loincloth when she entered the underworld. What does that mean? Well, when you soul travel, a method to do it is to remove your chakra system one by one, from the crown all the way down to the root chakra, the Maladara. Now, you can't permanently remove your chakras, so don't imagine that you can, because then you will die. But you can do it for a short period of time. You become lighter. Is it easier to soul travel? Is it easier to travel to the metaphysical? So the 7 chakras from crown to root, and return them in reverse order in order to be reborn. And the method is to go down into the underworld and to redeem the dead, the one who was stuck there, and her lover, of course. Why does she do it? Only because of kindness? Or is there something more to this? And when we're talking about 7 chakras, we're talking about the 7 main chakras. You have many, many more chakras, but this is the main one. So the descent of the goddess Ishtar into the lower world. In this myth, in this poem, it says, together with him, play ye for me, ye weepers and lamenting women, that the dead may rise up and inhale the incense. What are they doing? Are they only there to let them leave or help them leave this hellish existence? Or are there something more to it? Of course there is. And the Absu I would say the gold room is part of this underworld. That's the mythology, that's the idea, that's the narrative Stanley Kubrick is going for. They are the dead. So there is a method to this. And in this underworld, there are many different, there are gods, there can be spirits, there can be humans who are trapped there. So in the realms between worlds, many souls remain trapped by false fates. Rites or passages of paternal solar cults of the lie are but dead ends, closed gateways from restructured half-rights stolen from ancient cultures. So you can really go lost there by believing in something that is a lie, because then you start to focus on something that is not true. And I feel that is exactly what the elite have done. They make us focus on things that is a lie, and we have a result with it in the metaphysical, like reincarnation back, or can we end up in a prison because we are focused on something we can call heaven, but it is really a trap. In the first part, I talked about something I called a dead reckoning. And of course, Ishtar is here to do a dead reckoning as well. Because she not only do this to help these poor souls, but she is also here for a reward. That is, when she freed the dead souls who have accumulated a lot of knowledge and information, she can take part of that knowledge and information when she releases these souls. Therefore, her wisdom, knowledge, and power become increased through this method. That's the payment of these dead souls or lost souls. And you see that in Lord of the Rings when Aragorn releases these dead souls trapped under the mountain, and they help him win in Minas Tirith.
Yeah.
That's the same kind of a deal. Ishtar gained wisdom, and through method, she has also released the poor souls. It's a win-win, right? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and let's go back to the Pyramid Wars. And I stated this in part 1, but I have to state it again, because this is very important now. In the Pyramid Wars, it is about Marduk's war with Ishtar. They don't really like each other, these two. And they end up in a war very close to the pyramids in Egypt, in Giza Plateau. When Marduk retreats to Egypt to reign supremacy of his own Mardukite tradition, Ishtar sets her sight on making the powers there her own as well. The fighting that erupts between brothers may be of similar theme to what is alluded in the farmer gods versus shepherd gods. And Marduk become trapped in the pyramid. What does that mean? How can you trap Marduk in the pyramid? His father's machine is trapped in his father's machine, right?
Right.
Well, the gods is not physical in that way as we are. And what they are, I will come to that very soon. And how that can be a reality. So, in the Pyramid Wars, Enlil, the farmer gods want to destroy the pyramids. They go around on this planet and destroy them. They don't like this technology that Enki have put up or built. The Tower of Babylon is one example, and the Tower of Babylon is destroyed by Nimrod. And Enlil thinks it's too much noise when the human race is using technology, soul travel, and going over to the metaphysical, wherever it is through your body or through technology. He don't want humanity there. Too much noise. The Anzu bird is part of the technology associated with the pyramids. And Enki line is shepherds wants to preserve the technology, keep the Stargates open, because his star is Sirius. So he need a link between our planet and his star Sirius, and he can keep it open through technology. Otherwise, he lose access to the material plane we are at. And his hope is, of course, for Marduk to keep it open, because he have lost his ability to have an impact in matter where we are at. They are the ancient Anunnaki gods, not to be confused with the great old ones, but they are the older Anunnaki gods. The older Anunnaki gods is Anu, Enki, and Enlil. So we have this new finding, the Bosnian pyramid. And in that Bosnian pyramid, they find runes. And a professor translated it. And this runes is very old. And the old runes, there are many different forms of runes, are probably very, very old. And they try to hide it for us. But that's a very old language. And the runes is saying, gate is closed. We are on standstill. We will have to fight to defense and conquer until we are able to go through the Stargate. And the Bosnian pyramid was deliberately closed up or hidden. Therefore, there has been a force on this planet who tried to hide this technology from us and our understanding of it. They don't want us to understand these things. However, you can cross over to Universe B with your body temple, but others need technology to do the same. And that's the problem, and that's the game we are playing here. Because they need you to put this infrastructure in place again after the destruction of Atlantis, after that apocalyptic incident. Because they are few and we are many. At the same time, they need to control us and tell us what we are and what we cannot do. Because if we awaken too soon, we will overcome them. Because they need technology and we don't. Part 21, the gold room. Of course, this is about The Shining. I will go back to The Shining a little bit. Sorry about this, The Shining stuff, but it is very profound. You have the gold room, and the gold room is in the center of it all. That's Tiferet. On the other side of Tiferet, on Universe B, you have Thagirion, the Black Sun. Therefore, you want to open a portal in Tiferet of our sun, open it up so you can go over to the other side, Universe B and Thagirion. But below Tiferet, you have Yesod, or the moon. And you have this card, number 14. And Crowley named it Art. And that card ends up between the moon and the sun, or Yesod and Tiferet, on the tunnel between them, right? So if you put up 22, major cards of the Arcana, in the tunnels that connects the Sephiroths, all of them have a fixed position. This card art ends up between Yesod and Tiferet, or the moon and the sun. And Crowley portray that card, or the lady who have done the artwork on his on behalf of Crowley, have done a beautiful work with a lady with green clothing, and of course that's Isis Ishtar. Green and blue is her colors, Ishtar, and she is mixing fire with water, because you need both if you're going to make it over, make this journey. The card art, you have in it, you have fire and water, and you have a rainbow. Why a rainbow? Well, if you cross the rainbow, you have moved over from the moon towards the Tiferet energy, and you have to work this alchemical formula, this body fluids, to connect to this path of the tree. In the rainbow, you get rainbow if you take water and you shower it in the air, and the sun is up, and you can create your own rainbow for water. That's a mixing of fire and water. On this rainbow, it says vitriol. And that is the philosopher's stone, because we are searching for this philosopher's stone, because a lot of things is at stake here. It's not like everyone is running into the gold room without a reason. We want to find our higher self, our guardian angel, our metaphysical self. We want to find power and transformation. And that is on the other side. This phrase, vitriol, means visita interiora terrae, rectificando invenies occultum lapidem. By rectifying it, you will find the philosopher's stone. And because you have to find your own holy guardian angel, the real you, your authentic you, that's the philosopher's stone. And you have to do this journey. You have to risk, you have to dare, but you need the right attitude, and you need both water and fire with you, and you need the body fluids going together with that. Meaning you can't only use brain power, force, and power, the masculine attributes, to succeed, but you also need the feminine attribute as well. The ability to relax, sit down, meditate, take it slow, take it in. Your intuitivity tells you to back off, you should back off. You shouldn't force. Now you can understand that this esoteric elite is not about the feminine attribute at all. They are only about power and force and intellect.
For sure.
They don't have an art. They have lost the art. And therefore they are stuck. Now, part of Absu, you will find gods there. You will find the elite, broken boatmen who have failed. They have failed because they have lost their head, and they are stuck below the heart chakra. Souls remain trapped by false fates, ghosts, and spirits. Now, the gold room, as I use it, is not the totality of Absu, but rather you should view it as part of the Absu. It is part of that realm. You can be trapped in. So, let's talk about Anubis and Set. part 22. In the Desert of Set, you will find the Priestess card number 2 in Aleister Crowley's deck. This is the Priestess. This is about the moon, the sun, Isis and Sirius. Here we come back to Sirius again, because this card is attributed to Isis. And the Hebrew word Gimel is attributed to the card, because every card in Crowley's deck has a Hebrew letter attached to it. In this case, it is the Hebrew letter Gimel, and that means a camel. You can see the camel in the bottom of the card walking by. Isis is the idea behind all forms, Crowley stated. This is about your holy guardian angel, to find it, to really be able to make change into your life, to take back your own willpower and your own destiny, because that is not in matter. You have to transcend matter to really find your true purpose, your true identity, your holy guardian angel. Why are you here? People who doesn't do any work, they will not go anywhere. They haven't even started the journey through the Desert of Set yet. But when you walk towards the sun and the gold room, you need to pass the Desert of Set. And it is warm because the sun is scorching you. But you can't make it through willpower, fire, power, and force of its own. In the Desert of Set, you will die if you don't have water with you as well, and you will fail, and you will die. Therefore, you need the camel, you need the water with you. You can't do it with fire, willpower, with masculinity alone. On this journey, you need the feminine. And a camel has a lot of water with it. And a lot of femininity with it. And that is what you need. And that is what the elite lack. They don't have it. She is the priestess of the Silver Star, and the Silver Star is Sirius. Crowley doesn't state it himself that much, but the Silver Star is the 7-pointed star. And Crowley explains, and as they go, they spill water. One day they will irrigate the desert until it flower. See. We can take in change into matter if we are willing to do the journey over to the metaphysical. Even the desert can flower. Everything can change. We have that power. If we believe we don't have it, then we don't have it. What you can't imagine doesn't exist. 5 footprints of a camel. V. That's Vav in Hebrew letter. Vav is 6. So you have 5 Vavs. And 5 Vavs make up a pentagon. 5 footprints of a camel become 5 Vavs. And is attributed, of course, to 4 elements. And the most important is your spirit, of course, your soul. That can connect the metaphysical to matter, to draw down change. And the camel is, of course, the water Vav here. water element, the desert, the earth. The sun who's scorching the desert is fire. Right? And then we have air, and air is all around us in the desert. But the most important part is you, because you are going to do the journey through your temple, your body. That's the fifth valve, or spirit. So I've talked about this Anzu bird. Now I'll explain it more in detail. What are we talking about? The Anzu bird. It sounds nice with a bird, but what can it do? Well, a couple of things very interesting that is attributed to the Anzu bird is that from the beginning it was a hero, and then it became the enemy. The Anzu bird can breathe water and fire. And there is a maniac who hunts on the Anzu bird. Well, who in the right mind want to kill a cute bird like that, you might ask? Well, of course it is Jehovah's retarded fucking son, Ninurta, the demiurge himself.
Of course.
And that's also the same god who destroys the pyramids. Right? And the Anzu bird have a connection with his pyramids. So here you have Ninurta, Saturn, endless sun, destroying the pyramids, hunting the Anzu bird, kills or traps him. He steals the tablet of destiny. And I would make an argument that part of the tablet of destiny is your DNA. The DNA that they have shut down in you. The 22 strands of DNA the scientists call junk DNA. That ain't junk. You can turn it on. You can transform. You can ignite your DNA again. You can take it back. But from the beginning, it was King Belial who had the tablet of destiny, and they were stolen by Marduk. And then it ended up with the Anzu bird. And Ninurta, Enlil, take the tablets of destiny, your DNA in control, and keep it hidden. How can you hide DNA? Well, you can say it's junk DNA and that you don't have it. Now they have hidden it. It wasn't that hard. What you can't imagine doesn't exist. And if you control the narrative, you control the human race. So the Anzu bird have a very profound connection to the pyramids. We know that because Enki put Absu under his cigarette, and it was Absu, the fresh water, who birthed forth Anzu. So, this is a statement from Belial, Kingu himself. This is one of the ways the power of the witches' pyramid has been destroyed, only to be rebuilt by the chief archons. This is the true temple of Solomon. It is the temple of the wise. It is the pyramid of divine power. Thus, knowledge is power. This current pyramid of power, currently under construction, keeps all under the watchful eye of Yud Hey Vav Hey, so that creative power and potential can be directed according to the agenda of enslavement brought forth by the archons claiming to be the one God, Enlil, Jehovah. They have taken over the technology and turned it against us. That is what Belial say. And it's going on today. Because technology can be modified, destroyed, or changed, especially if it has existed for a very long period of time. I mean, my mobile phone doesn't look like the first one. You need a goddamn weigh like 15 pounds, right? Today we have small mobile phones because we have it has changed during time. So the ziggurat or the pyramids in Giza is the same thing. The Tower of Babylon, ziggurats, the first Solomon's temple. They're talking about the same thing here. They don't look the same, but they have a similar purpose. And Enlil-Ninurta destroys the old and builds new ones of control. Therefore, the second Temple of Solomon I consider to be a new construction with the aim of control. Today we have CERN, and it is under construction, as Belial stated. And now they want to build the third Temple of Solomon in Israel. And they're working hard on it. And I think that's part of the reason why it's war over there. One part of the reason. There are many reasons. Let's examine the machine itself. The machine. The changes in the machine. So they have changed this machine over time as they have changed our mobile phones. But from the beginning, according to me, it could open stargates. Joseph P. Farrell argued it is a weapon. I'm not saying it's wrong. He might be completely correct, right? I don't have any against that idea at all. Energy machine, it's a nuclear plant. I remember our modern nuclear plant use water. That's a steam engine. The nuclear plant is a steam engine. The pyramid is the same. Healing machine, energy and sound, initiations and rituals, and the water seems to be clean water. And that's my experience of nuclear plant as well, because I was born and raised very close to a nuclear plant, and I did a documentary about this nuclear plant. And they had the fresh waters coming from the nuclear plant. You can travel and catch big fishes because they loved that goddamn water. Right? So
Yeah.
Enki's machine, the pyramid and nuclear plants, with the Absu under his temple, and the Absu birth forth the Anzu bird as part of the technology of this nuclear plant pyramid construct machine. And Joseph P. Farrell have written this book, The Demon in the Acre. And I agree with his ideas here. Now, Joseph P. Farrell is an Orthodox Christian, so he doesn't agree with everything I say. And I'm not
That's for
saying
sure,
that.
yeah.
So please, I don't want to. I like the man and what he does, but we have not similar ideas about humanity and so on. Anyway, on page 11, you can write, he is himself the maker and creator of the angels, for he brought them out of nothing into being and created them after his own image, an incorporated race, a sort of spirit of immaterial fire. And there you have the Anzu bird. A material fire bird. What do they mean? they talk about plasma, but not all plasma, because most of the plasmas, of course, no gods, no spirits, but there are some of them who have caught intelligence or memory. So you have the plasma, and they are the materiality and they are immateriality. Their position or place and ability to shapeshift. This is things Joseph P. Farrell has stated. Their ability to penetrate ordinary matter, having a kind of extension in that they are in some sort of location, which location is a mental, perhaps hyperdimensional space. And he argued that this pyramid can draw down plasma and trap them inside the pyramid, and that would fit all the myths from Sumeria as a glove, because they are talking about trapping Marduk inside the pyramid. They are talking about Enki trapping Anzu under his pyramid, and that Anzu bird is birthed forth from the Anzu under his pyramid, Ziggurat Kur. So the Anzu bird can breathe water and fire. The Anzu bird is plasma. The Anzu bird is a demon or an angel, depending on your worldview, and he's trapped in the pyramid. Poor Anzu bird. And Ninurta and Enlil doesn't like him. All the pyramids, they want destruction because they want humanity further down into matter under Enlil rule and control. Then the Anzu bird has to go, the pyramid has to go, or they have to reprogram the pyramids and aim them against us instead. So Anzu goes from hero to enemy. Depends on when, how old the scriptures are, the mythology. From Enki to Enlil narrative. So when Enki and Marduk was heroes, Anzu was a hero. When Enlil and Ninurta was supposed to be the hero, the gods you should follow, then the Anzu bird becomes a villain. So Ninurta kills him and traps him. And Ninurta destroys the pyramids. Bosnian pyramid is one example if you want to have an empirical evidence. But you can also see that the Giza, the pyramids on Giza Plateau, they are stripped from technology. They destroyed the Tower of Babel. They destroyed the first Solomon's temple. Enlil Ninurta wants to destroy the Stargates, push humanity further down into matter. It's control and limitation. Ninurta Saturn is about boundaries, limitations, matter and restriction, law and order under Enlil's rule. Matter. This is a quite long quote. We have found many similarities between these unique features of the Great Pyramids and the pre-Diluvian Ekur house, which is like a mountain, of Enlil, his ziggurat in Nippur. His ziggurat in Nippur, like the Great Pyramid, it rose high to dominate the surrounding plain. In pre-diluvial time, the Ekur of Nippur housed the Dur Anki, link heaven-earth, tablets of destiny, the orbital data panels. It also contained the Dirga, a mysterious dark chamber whose radiance guided the shuttlecraft to a landing at Sipar. The Demon in the Ekur by Joseph P. Farrell. So he's talking about Enlil's ziggurat as well. But we can make sure that that ziggurat, no human came close to that ziggurat, except maybe his elite priest class under his control and rule. But I think he allowed Ninurta to destroy even his ziggurat later on to hide the fact that they had this technology. That's my understanding of it. And what he says as well is that the pyramid on the Giza plateau is a kind of a ziggurat. It's the same thing. It only looks different. It is smooth-sided, but the ziggurats are stepped pyramids. Same function, same stuff. So Enki puts Apsu to sleep under his temple Kur ziggurat. The Anzu bird was conceived from the waters of Apsu. The Anzu bird is plasma trapped in the Ekur ziggurat pyramid of Enki, and is part of that technology. I would say. So we come to Richard Hoagland. I don't know if you know who that man is.
Oh yeah, Mars pyramids and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a very interesting man, I think. And Joseph P. Farrell quotes him in the book. And he states, when we look then at the stars, at the sky at night, we are not seeing chained and imprisoned hay bombs. We are seeing portals to another dimension. And the portals are glowing windows through which we can peer and glimpse the fragment of a physics from another side. Universe B, I call it. What is stunning is when you take that metaphor and you go back and read the actual Egyptian description and the hieroglyphics for Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, the description is Sirius is a doorway. Richard Hold. Is the black sun. Is Enki's star. Is Dagon's star. I would say that Dagon is the rightful owner of Sirius, but Enki took it over for technology. But its point has the same direction. So you have a technology component with Enki, but not with Dagon. And the Queen Chamber in the Giza, the main pyramid on Giza Plateau, points towards Sirius. That's Isis' chamber. And you remember in the desert of Set, you need water with you when you're doing this journey, because now you're going to travel through the desert of Set, towards Sirius, through the black sun, towards the moon and Saturn. So, are you ready to do this journey with me now? Because I will start the machine for you. I lay you down probably in the Queen Chamber somewhere, maybe in a sarcophagus. You will hear the water start to roar when the machine starts to pump it up from the underworld, from the Apsu. The water starts to enter the machine. You hear the energy pumping and you hear the ground shaking around you. You almost feel like your soul leave your body because it shakes, it's loose. The water keeps on filling the pyramid, coming closer to you. And with a roar, the Anzu bird breaks and come up through the water of Apsu into the pyramids, in the pyramid room, chamber, Queen Chamber, and sparks start to fly. You start to feel that your soul leave your body, and you can see your body laying there on the ground or in the sarcophagus. You have become the hanged man. You see it upside down. You see it from another perspective. You see it through the mirror. You have become the magical mirror. And the hanged man had the Hebrew word letter mem attached to it. And mem is water, as I said before. Now you will travel through water as the hanged man, because you have become the magical mirror and you have crossed over to the universe B. Now you have become a boatman, a cosmic sailor over astral water. You leave Isis' chamber, and the Isis chamber is aimed at Sirius. You see the pyramids start to disappear below you when the soul, your soul, leave the material, and you start a soul travel. And you aim for the moon. You see the moon bright in the skies as a silver disc become bigger and bigger as you coming closer and closer. You will probably hear a voice that warns you, don't go too close to the moon because they have soul traps there. Avoid it, but see it, feel the energy, but don't go too close. You will probably see buildings there because they have physical structures on the moon. You feel like you are flying. It's not like walking. You're taking giant leap forward as you teleport your way forward. You avoid going too close to the moon and start to aim for the Saturn instead. And you see Saturn, the ring of Saturn, and you see two moons. One is Mimas and the other is Iaptis. That's part of the Stargate system, technology. Don't go too close to the moons or Saturn, your voice tell you. This is a say-so. Look, I've been trapped here myself. You don't have to be trapped here with me or in another moon. Avoid, don't go too close. But turn towards the sun. You turn against the sun and you see it glowing red. No, sorry, yellow, burning yellow. It's a big disc. You see a small dot, a black dot start to grow in the middle of the sun. From here, you see Earth as well. And you see Truman in the Truman Show. He's in a programmed reality. He's in a program. And he's controlled from the moon room by a man who have created his narrative. Poor Truman doesn't know that he is owned, that he is trapped. It's a game show. He has become the joke, the fool. But suddenly something falls from the skies. And on that lamp is a Sirius. You wonder what happened here. Where did it come from? What's going on? It doesn't reflect too much on it, but it still have a clue. Something is strange here. And he doesn't understand. He controlled from the moon room by a man who has scripted the narrative. But in the end of the movie, Truman becomes at last the boatman because he has seen through the material, the constructed reality, matter, and now he understands that there is something outside that he can get at. With the risk of his own life, he enters the boat and becomes the boatman. And he survives his journey through the desert of Set, through the waters, through Mem, through the gold room, and he reached his destiny. From this perspective, you see two towers being hit by two planes. It is 9/11. And the number 9, if you counted from 1 to 9, you got the number 45. And if you count 11, 1 to 11, you got the number 66. And 45 plus 66 is 111, or 111. And that's the number of the sun, Tiferet. Phagirion, the black sun, and the gold room. It's a sacrifice going on planet Earth. There is a hanged man falling from one of the towers. And if you put up the Major Arcana 1 to 21 in 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and you change row, 4, 5, 6, change row, 7, 8, 9, change row, 10, 11, 12. You have 10, 11, 12 becoming 33. And the last of those, that row is the hanged man. 33 is the number attributed to Sirius. And of course, they had a dog named Sirius, who was the hero and tried to save as many people as possible on this dire day, where the hanged man fell from the tower. You see the gold room and all the lost souls in there. People have been sacrificed in wars, in meaningless slaughters, false rites of passage, wrong fate. You don't want to become one of those. One of those. Bush Junior read a book, and that book is upside down, and it is My Pet Goat. You see him sit there in a classroom, the fool, the hanged man, the siren, with this book upside down. You push forward, and now you see the sun at last start to grow a black sun from the center of the sun. And you think, I will make it. I will succeed. I will not be trapped. But this is a hard, harsh journey. And you start to travel towards the sun. And the sun center start to be black. All the way until the blackness had taken over. Swallow the sun. And you go through it. The blackness, the long journey, and you start to see Sirius at last in front of you. The excitement. You have pierced a dimension. You have come to Sirius at last. And you feel some spirits try to connect with you, to communicate with you. And finally, they do connect. Because you have done all the work you need. You have the chakra system turned on, all the body fluids, your frequencies, everything is there. So you have a clear communication with these spirits we call ones. And you see this man with a fish suit come against you. And if you think the ones look a little bit similar to an evil Swede, then you're not entirely wrong. But here is the message. They've taken over this technology of yours. It was never meant to be this way. Now they've aimed that technology against you in order to control you, to keep you down, technology can be a very dangerous tool if it is used in a very different manner than it was made for. And you have to take it back and remember that you don't need that technology, but there are others on your planet that need it. Your temple is your technology. Your temple is your gold, your way to get in contact with us. Remember that what you can't imagine cannot exist. Therefore, if you can't imagine us, if you can't imagine that this is a possibility, then we do not exist. But with method, you will realize and you will wake up your imagination, stimulate your imagination. And in the end, you will come back to us. And this elite don't want that. Because we were your teachers of old. Now go back and spread this wisdom. Make this word, make it spread into matter. Now you have gone into the metaphysical, take something with you, and if you spread it, you have made it flesh. Now you start to travel back. You go into the pyramid again, and you wake up in your body. And your body is a little bit tired, and it has laying there on the floor for a couple of hours while you were away. So it's a little bit broken. You will probably need some help to start your body again, but it can be done. And this profound experience have, of course, changed you, shaken you up. Now you know that it is true. Not until you experience something, you cannot know it is true. It's when you are there, when you see it, when you feel it, then it becomes true. Now we come back to the crucifixion. Because what they can do with technology, you can do with the body. So let's go to the crucifixion of Jesus, the left-hand path. Jesus, that is. So on this cross, he is crucified in the middle of two thieves, crooks. So there are three people there about to be crucified. And you can view the thieves and the crooks as Ida and Pingala. And Ida Pingala is part of your chakra kundalini. They are the ones who help you to awaken the Shakti. And Jesus says, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. And that is a true statement, according to me and a lot of teachings. Because you cannot be responsible for your action if you haven't crossed into the metaphysical and found your holy guardian angel, the real you. Until then, you ain't free. Your actions, what you're doing, is because of your childhood, where you come from, your biology, all the programming from school, society, family. But when you have overcome your body, when you've gone into the metaphysical, when you find your holy guardian angel, when you find your diamond, now you can have free will. And when you have free will, you can be responsible for what you're doing. Doesn't mean that it is okay to do whatever because I don't have free will. No, of course we have to protect ourselves from these people, especially the one who argue that they don't have free will and therefore they can do whatever they want. Of course we need to protect others from them. But to punish them as an act for punishment alone, It's not a good thing. We can punish them because we need to have them locked in a prison or to keep them away from others. Solomon's temple, and we all know that Solomon's temple was cracked when Jesus died on the cross. Solomon is made up of two words, sol or mon. Sol means sun, and omon means hidden. Sun hidden. Solomon's temple is about Sirius and the black sun. This Jesus is the stone that you, the builders, have rejected, and now he has become the cornerstone, meaning he doesn't need any temple, any technology. He can do what they can only with his body, with the body alone. He needs himself. He needs method. And I want to remind you what Belial stated. This current pyramid of power, currently under construction, keeps all under the watchful eye of Yud Hey Vav Hey, so that creative power and potential can be directed according to agenda of enslavement brought forth by the archons claiming to be the one God. And this temple who Jesus cracks is, of course, a new Solomon. It's the second temple, not the first one. Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Sorry. Go to the underworld with his body temple 3 days. He goes for 3 days into the underworld with his temple alone. He can raise up this temple because his body is this temple. He doesn't need an external temple. What he's talking about is the chakra, among other things. There are many more methods to this, but the chakra is one of those. And he wants to become a magical mirror. Now, why this crucifixion? Is that part of a method? Then maybe I skipped this method, right? No, the reason why they've chosen the crucifixion as a symbol for this is many reasons. As I said before, cross, if you unfold the cross, you get the cube. So this is an association that what you want to do is to overcome Saturn, to travel through the metaphysical and even over Saturn. And Saturn is the threshold. It is the last planet in our solar system that you have to work with. And that's the hardest planet to overcome. Therefore, you have to open up the cube, unfold the cross, and leave your body in order to overcome it. You have to go into the metaphysical, to the universe B. He was nailed with 3 nails. And 3 nails is Vav, 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 or 666. Another reference to the black sun. 666 is the black sun. Therefore, Jesus is crucified in matter, but the method is about the black sun. You want to go from universe A to universe B and become a magical mirror. At the same time, he is nailed in matter. What does it mean? He wants to bring in change into matter from the metaphysical. The word made flesh. Therefore, he became the Antichrist 666, because the Christ and the Antichrist is the same coin, different sides on the same coin. He becomes the Antichrist because he crosses over to the metaphysical through method. And his aim is for the black sun, 666. And Antichrist is attributed to the black sun. And Jesus is the sun, but the Antichrist is the black sun, 666. He wants to become a boatman. And if he going to be a boatman, he needs to reach the Sunyata. And Sunyata is the chakra above the crown chakra. That's the eye of the dragon. You have to push all the energy from the chakras up into Sunyata. And if you manage to do that, you feel like you're falling back into a tunnel. And you go over to the universe B. You have the crown of thorns around his head, and that is the asteroid belt, the crown of thorns, the old Stargate system. And he has to push it up over the crown of thorns because the Sunyata is above the crown chakra. So he has to go to the moon. So let's do this journey one more time. But this time we will use the body instead of technology. So the Christ leaves his body, become the Antichrist, and cross over. It become the magical mirror. You go into universe B. His soul, his light, leave his body and start soul travel towards the moon. You see the cross disappear behind him, below him. He jumps forward. He doesn't walk forward. It's like a teleportation thing. He jump through his soul, come closer to the moon, and the moon become bigger and bigger, like a silver disc in the sky. And he hear a voice tell him, don't go too close to the moon. There are soul traps there. He understands that, and he avoids the moon. And he can clearly see that there are buildings, artificial constructs on the moon. It's there. But he turned his face towards the earth. He see the moon room in the Shining Hotel. 237. You see a place on the moon who are 237,000 square meters in diameter. And there are constructs there. And it's called Sinus Iridium, or the Bay of the Rainbows. And I can hear a voice whisper from the eyes wide shut, what is at the end of the rainbow? He turned his face against Saturn, and he started to travel towards Saturn. And he hears a voice tell him, it's Azazel, don't go too close to Saturn. You can be trapped here. I am trapped in Mimas, and they can trap you as well. Turn your gaze towards the sun. Sorry. He turns his face towards the sun, and I see it burning yellow in the sky. Big disk. It is in the center of it all. It is Tiferet. And Tiferet is the center of it all. It is the center of the tree of life. And also center of it all in the Qliphothic tree, Thagirion. You started to see it grow. The blackness, the black dot in the middle of the sun, start to grow. In the center of it all, in the center of it all. Start slowly go towards it. And he hear a voice in his head calling out to him, do not lose your head. Do not lose your head. If you do this journey, you have to go all the way. You cannot be stuck. You need your willpower. You need your water. You need your fire. Otherwise, you can end up like John the Baptist, stuck in the gold room without a head. You see Jack, and you hear his conversation with the caretaker. Sorry to differ with you, sir, but you are the caretaker. You have always been the caretaker. You have always been here in this Hotel California. In realms between worlds, men's souls remain trapped by false fates. Rites or passages of paternal soul occults of the lie are but dead ends, closed gateways from destructed half-rights stolen from ancient cultures. Hear the words echo in your mind. Jesus raised the dead to release the dead and to gain knowledge from them. A left-hand path method, exactly as Ishtar did when she went down to Absu. And now he can raise the dead because he's very close to the gold room. You see a huge mouth open up in the center of the sun. You see Stanley Kubrick's movie AI, which he couldn't finish because he was probably killed. You see the design, the architecture, and there are a lot of art with statues with open mouth. Trains go through them, cars go through them. That's an attribute to Belphegor. And Belphegor is a demon lord of Thagirion. This is a lot about sexual energy. And you have to overcome it, or you will be swallowed. Not in a good way, but you will end up in a sexual debauchery. And you see how our society have become a place of sexual debauchery. Technology is about sex, androids, architecture. We have lost our way. Jesus tried to travel forward, and he knows he has to go through Thagirion in order to reach the black sun on the other side. He managed to do so and leave the sexual energy behind him, and he enters the underworld. For 3 days he is there and battles these energies, feelings, shadows, traumas, memories. And finally, he managed to go through the black sun. He ended up on the other side through this portal. And finally, he had become the black star in the center of it all. And you are the black star in the center of it all. Or you can become the black star in the center of it all. because that's about method. That's about purpose and willpower. And finally, you see Sirius. And this time around, you see Dagon. And Dagon is a water god. He rises up out from the water. He greets you and tells you, welcome to my star Sirius. Great traveler in soul only. Here is my message for you. Take it back to Earth and make it flesh. You have all you need in your body. They hold you back because they know what you can become. You can take it all back when you realize that what I'm telling you now is the truth. Your body is your temple. You can turn from lead into gold, turn on your DNA that they have taken away from you. Then you are free. They cannot do anything about you. Because they need technology. You don't. You need the right focus. You need to imagine what's possible, and then you have to make it happen. Many of humanity can do this. Maybe not all. Some have lost their way. So some people have swallowed the lie that they don't have a soul. And if you believe that you don't have a soul, you don't have it. And without it, you cannot come here. Now, take this message with you. And the thing that people don't want to hear at all and don't want to recognize is this. And this is the most important part. You have to work, and you need a method, and you need to transform. And it's hard work. But you can do it. But forget about this alien stuff. No one will come and save you. And you know as well as I that you will not come to save them, but you can become an inspiration for them to do what you are doing right now. But they can turn you into the fool, to the flip-flop pieces, to the passive, to make people passive instead. Take this message with you and made it flesh. Jesus turns his gaze downwards and starts to travel his way down again, leaving Sirius and Dagon behind. And after a long journey, he enters his body, crucified body. But it is crucified because it's nailed, because he wants to make the word made flesh. And the word was made flesh, because otherwise I wouldn't say them here, tell you the words here. Spread into matter. And this is a form of a dead reckoning. And in the end of the New Testament, Jesus do a dead reckoning method. Because he showed himself for his disciples. And this is really a left-hand path method. So when you leave your body, you can turn back your soul or your light to make an impact in matter for your soul spirit for a short period of time before it goes away. So you have left your body, but you can still act in matter for a short period of time. Therefore, he goes to his disciples and tell them about this truth. Not the version in the New Testament, but this one instead. And the Word was made flesh. Not long time ago, they found a painting that was hidden away for a very long time. And that painting's name was Lucifer Unbound. And I have to bring it up because I was the one who made up the term Lucifer Bound. And here you have a painting coming to surface just a couple of years ago called Lucifer Unbound. And Lucifer, many people believe he's the light bearer. He's a light, but that's not true. And Belial stated that he's not the light bearer, for that was another by the same name, but he is the darkness. He is the black sun. And in a way, there is connection between Jesus and Lucifer, but only if you understand and if you read behind the lines and find out which Jesus is what. But that's the reason why people keep on asking that question. There is something there. And it's about his journey on the cross and what his purpose was there for doing it. And you can become the boatman. You can do this. This is not a fantasy. This is not a story. This is not for fun, but this is very real. When you have understood it, your life will have a complete different meaning, or take a complete different meaning. It takes time to come to use method to come that far, but you take small step forward and you will draw back the curtains one by one. And you will realize that if I can do this and this was correct, what people told me, then I will try to do this as well and take the next step. And slowly but surely you will take steps towards the universe B, other dimensions, and you become a boatman. All right, next part will be about A Space Odyssey 2001, and we will do one more journey together towards Sirius. But this time around, I will do it with a spaceship and will have, and with some crew. And the black obelisk will show up. And the ape will grab a bone and throw it up in the air, and it will turn into a spaceship. That spaceship could be called a Tower of Babylon if you want to. And the aim, the signal from that black obelisk in the book was aimed towards Saturn, and more specific to one of the moons called the Chakras. That is the signal they are following. But before they get there, they go to the moon and they discover that there are constructs on the moon. And there are a connection with the black obelisk and Dagon as well, and the great old ones and water. So I hope you liked this part, and in the next part, part 3, the last one in the series, I will decode A Space Odyssey 2001.
Thank you very much. That was amazing. Whew. And I know I've got research to do with, I got to go back in the Black Star because my David Bowie book, of course, I decoded. And David, of course, has showed me new vistas of it. But yeah, that was an incredible journey and very powerful stuff. I guess it's almost 2.5 hours. So we better get to some of the super chats. Thank you very much, Mr. Chester, for your support. And here's a question for you, David. I hope it's not too out of left field. And thank you very much for that, Menace. And he's asking your thoughts of Matthew 19:12. I looked it up. That's the part where it says, for there are eunuchs who are born that way, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by others. And there are those who choose to live like eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. The one who can accept this should accept it. Any thoughts on this? The castration thing? I think so. Bell, that's all I can think of. But what about you, David?
Yeah, exactly. There is a method, because if you're castrated, you can be used for different purposes in esoteric method. So to say, this is a dark method where you start to use people outside of yourself. And that's the reason why I say, tell your temple is your temple. You only need that to do the method. Don't start to use other people outside of you to have results. But my guess, eunuchs could produce a certain type of body fluids, for example, because they are nuded. Mm-hmm. They don't have the same, they are like androgen, and therefore their temple works in a different way. I also talked about this castration of young boys, and I think they had a specific voice, and they could sing a tune if they were in shore, like in core, and a lot of people sing at the same time. They can struck a note, they can vibrate, and you can have results with the sound alone. So they use them as a sound resonator.
Makes sense. No, that makes sense. Well, there's the answer. Thank you very much for that. Well, we probably should wrap it up. I have to take my son to swimming lessons. Speaking of Mem, he has to be in the water. It's indoors, don't worry. So he's got his indoor swimming. But Vance, any quick question or comment from you before we wrap it up?
Oh, a tremendous amount of information. And, there's almost like how do you question the encyclopedia?
Yeah, exactly. You have to go back and listen to it. Yeah.
I was wondering about the Kabbalistic Merkaba, the traveling, soul traveling, so forth, with respect to Stargates and crossing over to Universe B. Is there a connection there?
Yeah, there is connection there. So you can become this Merkaba, where you can start soul travel or pierce to go over from Universe A to Universe B. So that's also the terminology that you can use to become a Merkaba.
A lot of parallel systems, right, that have evolved from each other over time.
Exactly.
Yeah, great.
I'm sorry for my AI voice.
No, God, yeah. I understand that. I mean, great talk, and I cannot wait for 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be culminating, and I love how you really do give the steps, which is great. And like you said, it's hard work, it's doable, and without a doubt, the most important thing we'll do in this incarnation. So I'm glad you're sharing this information, David, and for everybody in the chat. Thanks for being here. You guys had some interesting conversation. Everybody's on top of the game, and everybody was very happy with what you had to say, David. But we are at the end. Yeah, as always. Vance, thank you very much for coming on the show and being here.
Okay, you're very welcome on behalf of me and my moondog howling friend in the background there.
He wants more.
Yeah.
Sirius is on the way.
Yeah, the dog days. Yeah. Left-hand path puppy.
You have a good dog there, Vance.
Yeah. Well, David, as always, thank you very much. And yeah, we were very excited. We'll have you in about a month at the end of November for 2001. And thanks for this presentation. It was excellent.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Vince. And thanks to your audience. And I'm sorry it was a long one. I tried to make it quite fun.
No. Did great. All right, for everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll talk soon. And as I always say, write your own gospel, live your own myth, or else somebody else will do that for you. Take care, everybody, and talk to you soon.